of everyone's favorite pitch practice, the show.
Good morning. Great to
The
see you again.
show. How's how's everybody doing out there in this bright early morning? My name is
Bright.
Mark, and I'm the guy behind the Mental Marketer private Facebook group, Funnel Building 101, and we're here to practice today. Thanks for joining us. Got my partners in crime here today.
Got Brandon here with BKXX Marketing, here to get your company found. If you're struggling to get to the top of the marketplace, you probably got something wrong with your foundation. So reach out to me. Let's figure out what's broken and get it fixed.
Oh, what's up, Laura?
You got Laura Morales here. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear that sound?
What is it?
The sound of turning on the faucet. I've always wanted to know how to just turn on the faucet of leads, customers, and it all starts with knowing how the hell to close. So that's why I'm here.
Turning on the faucet. What about a waterfall, right?
Hey, a waterfall, a giant stream. I'll take it.
Right, right. Always closing. Always, always, always. Let me adjust some light here. All right. So, hey, man, we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got so much excitement going on. So much excitement has finished. Laura's right there with her what we're gonna call him
Call her
call her pitch practice dog.
the pitch practice dog, Jackie.
Pitch Jackie, the pitch practice puppy.
I love it. Jackie, are you okay with that? You did close a bunch of deals yesterday. You broke a bunch of things, so that's a good thing. And you owe me a lot of money. You need to start getting a job.
Yes, yes. So hey, so what's everybody? Let's talk about what everybody has going on. I'm sorry, I'm just stretching. Got a little trying to keep my lower back in shape. We've been in the 40s. I just can't take it. I can't take it. I'm ready for the temperatures to go back up so I can get back outside and start exercising. But we got some exciting stuff to talk about. I think we are talking about before camera the big challenge that was going on that Mr. Grant Cardone himself from the Closer Survival Guide was having. But some interesting. I think there's been some interesting observations from the challenge and just the overall presentation of it. One of the things that I'll talk about was that it was day one, and not more than 50 minutes into the presentation, he'd already presented the offer. What are your thoughts about presenting the offer within 50 minutes, Brandon?
I think it's smart because it clears the air. It releases the tension. You already know what it's going to cost you. There's two types of people that are going to react to that. There's the one that says, "Great, let me just go ahead and buy it now. I've already seen enough. Let's just move on because I got other things to do my next 4 or 5 days." And then there's the second type. It's like, okay, it's $1,000. Let me see what else he has before I decide to invest that money. I believe Russell has done similar tactics during his speeches. I can't recall any off the top of the head, but I do feel that during his live presentations and several of those guests up on Unlocking Live have done the same thing. They kind of let you know up front, this is what it is, what it's going to cost, and then circle back around and tell you what you're going to get. It's kind of like it's kind of like those thriller movies where you see the climax or the end scene first, and then they tell the story behind it. Like, you already know what's going to happen, but now you want to know how they got to that point.
Mm, mm. He had on the table, what did he say? How much? $50,000 just
Six,
laying right there on the table. Just
65,000
it
because
was how much?
he always brought extra. He
Oh,
always brings extra to whatever he does. They told him bring 50, he brought 65 because somebody could walk through and steal some of it, someone could fall on the floor, et cetera, et cetera. So he's always over prepared.
oh yeah, a little extra. Um, would you do something like that, Laura? I don't know. Because would you have you actually considered, because we know you're in the franchise space. So I don't know if something like a challenge might be in your wheelhouse, or something like a challenge might be something that you've thought about doing, or even something like a webinar, if that's something that you might consider doing or even looked into.
For the people that we're looking to market to, or in what regard?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I'm asking.
that's, yeah.
If you've even considered adding that to
Um,
your arsenal.
to my arsenal, personally, no, because the reason that the way that my firm works, Rhino 7, we've got 8 brands, and we take them from like concept, or from 1 or 2 units to 1,000, 4,000, 5,000 units.
Mm-hmm.
And we only work with brokers. So what happens is brokers send us qualified leads. So they go out and do the work for it, and then we split a commission. So really, it's a very niche thing we do. Um, I have not personally thought of a webinar, but I'm not opposed to doing a webinar that maybe explains how to think about how to buy a franchise brand for a buyer, right? That's maybe geared in more the general terms, but not the terms that not specifics of like, here's what is in our franchise disclosure agreement with these brands, right? Maybe something more general. I definitely could do something like that to create more content to get known in the franchise sales space. I have not thought about it or taken ownership, but that is a great idea.
See, I think Grant has, and okay, you're looking at Russell Brunson and you're looking at Grant Cardone, and it's the difference between one-to-one and one-to-many sales. Russell Brunson has that perfect webinar presentation where he has basically he has it structured from the beginning all the way through to and what's happening, what is he weaving throughout that presentation, breaking false beliefs, thinking ahead, because I think the difference between one-to-one and one-to-many is that you've got a lot of people out there that are listening with different different things that are going on in their heads. So one person out there might have something in their head, or we'll say a question. We won't say objection, but we'll say a question from, like the Closer Survival Guide. When you're one-on-one, you have the opportunity to really flesh out what that question is and how to get over it. But when a one-to-many, because you've got so many, you sort of have to kind of know it in advance and actually kind of speak about it to overcome those beliefs in the presentation. I personally don't think that Grant has that process down. What are your thoughts, Brandon? At least from watching the presentation, from the first day, he's really a one-on-one person. What are your thoughts, Brandon?
I think it's day one, so he didn't really hit his stride for having to do that. Just as we mentioned in the beginning of the call, he already put the offer out there of $997. So now he's going to go through and explain exactly what you're getting with the system and why you should buy it. His day one wasn't meant to close everybody then, because there'd be no point in the challenge. He gave just enough to get you interested to potentially come back for day 2, or for those that trust him a little bit more, or see more of his material, to just go ahead and move with speed and take advantage of his additional offer of giving you the credit in his store to go to one of his 3-day events, which at about 50% cost of what they normally charge. I think those 3-day events, those boot camps, are around $2,500 and not $997. So yeah, he's really giving a lot moving into his growth con.
There's a there's your audience that you speak to that's that really knows you and that is familiar with you and that loves you seeing you with puppies. And then you're getting Jackie dressed there, putting on a sweater. You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. I'm going to give you an A on that, Laura. I'm going to give you an A. She's not squirming at all. And but some of the other observations that I noticed, what were some of your observations, Brandon?
When it came to the stuff that he talked about, it wasn't anything new because I've already seen it. He mentioned a lot of things out of the Millionaire booklet, especially when it came to the money math and money mindset. The pitch itself, when it came inside the money math, was a little brash, and it perked my ears up a little bit when he said you can get, if you get 1,000 idiots to pay you $1,000, you'll get $1 million. I was like, yeah, makes sense. But the fact that he said it on camera with over 1,000 people watching it was kind of was a little like, did you really just say that type deal? But I understand what he was trying to say. If it was a different place, it would have been fine. But hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him in the butt for days 4 through 5.
Yeah, that was quite a statement that he said when he said that, and you said brash. Yeah, a little. Yeah, just well, Laura says that you think it's because he takes time out of the equation.
Yeah, remember, like, the only reason Grant says some of these brash things is, well, number one is because he's trial closing people, right? And he's keeping people engaged. He's an entertainer, and then on top of that, he believes in what he's selling. And a lot of those people that show up there have shown up with, I've seen Grant a million times on YouTube, or maybe, hey, I'm been using Grant's products and services since I was 24 years old. And that's the right. Anything he says, I'm like, all right, let me boil it down to what he was trying to say. Because he said this in, 6 other books. And he always talks about cutting time of the equation, making it simple, keep it simple, and cutting time out of the equation, and always presenting an offer as soon as you meet somebody. So then then any objection that come up, then it's the presentation supposed to overcome those objections. And 2, if people don't have something that they know you're offering to them right off the bat, how do you even have a hook? The only reason you get on these calls, the only reason you pitch is to really have an offer.
Yeah. Of course. It's kind of like, I'm not going to like string you along for even a day and not tell you that I don't have an offer when everyone knows that I'm going to give you an offer, right?
Yeah, and you're going into the call with the notion you're there to be sold something. You want to be taught something first before you end up giving any more money than you've already done. But at the end of the at the end of the session, at the end of the challenge, if you're not expecting to be pitched something to move you up their value ladder, then they didn't do a good enough job during the presentation.
What did you think about the offer? And here's what he said. Because I love to watch it. I watch the other challenges and I watch it to see the process, to see how they interact. What are they talking about? Is he giving out? Is he teaching? And I'm looking for the process. And what I noticed is that after he did the offer, he made this statement, right? And he says but then, okay, if you know him and you've listened to him, it probably doesn't come off as anything strange. But he says, if you're not buying, he says, if you're not buying it, why? Do you think I'm a scam? You don't trust me? Why don't you just buy it? And I was like, whoa.
He got aggressive, but like that's just him getting excited.
I was like, whoa, how come I don't trust you? How come I don't know you? How come I think you're a scam? I was like,
because those are the objections that everybody like him gets, right? People are like, well, you're just trying to fucking sell me something. Like, oh, why do I need to buy this? And those are the objections. Oh, because I think you're a scam a little bit, or I think you're a cult leader or some shit, right? So those are the objections. So this is what I love about watching Grant. You hear him, and I mean, I've gone back and watched things sometimes 1,000 times, and then I finally kind of was able to decode it better. You hear him. And then you finally understand that the way that he communicates is through every objection that might potentially come up. So when he's like, what, you don't trust me? You think I'm a scam? Those are objections he's pushing on people and throwing them at their faces. To be that kind of just so brash and so crude in front of customers, you need a lot of customers and a big pipeline to say something like that. And that is his point.
That's his point, is that
you've got to have so many customers that you're never afraid to lose the deal. Because if you are, then he always says, like, if your customers aren't sold on you, if you're worried all the time, it's because your pipeline isn't big enough.
Right.
Yeah. And then go back to his deal for the $997 for the system. I think it's a great deal, especially if you took advantage of a day one, minute one, where he was giving you the $497 virtual ticket to GrowthCon. It might even have been bumped up to the VIP, where you get the after Q&A session for GrowthCon. And you got the $997 store credit to attend one of his virtual events, to be even in closer proximity to Grant, his team, and other people like you, to better network and to potentially get more deals depending on the service that you provide. So I think the offer stack is phenomenal. It wasn't delivered cleanly, because even Grant came in after the fact, when P. Vargas was delivering the final stack and close for the day one, jumped in to try to clarify it. But I knew what he was giving away, because I know what Cardone has to offer. Yeah, I think it's a great offer. Something I would take, because I already have all of the same material that he's selling. But for somebody that's new, fresh, and just getting into the Cardone space, it's a great offer to take up.
Right. So let me ask you, because we talk about what we talk about here is we talk about, okay, it's not always the best product that wins, because having a great product is great, but if you're not able to really communicate that, that's the reason why, we talk about it all the time, Brandon. you could have a great business, but if you're not on the first page of Google, no one's going to see you, just as an example, right? So you could have the best. And this, I think you could, his program is great. His program is great. But if you don't, I don't think if you don't present it the right way, then maybe some people that want to take advantage of it might not take advantage of it because of the way it was delivered. And I understand Grant's point about wanting to be brash and just go for it right away and be that way. But let me ask you, is that something, would you present it that way, Laura? Where'd you go, Laura? I wanted to ask, is that something that you would do?
I would make the attempt. I think on my next call that I have, I'm just going to tell them this is what it's going to cost up front to work with me. Are you in or you out type deal. And
No, and you know what?
I get
That's
it.
healthy. That's healthy. You need to be. I actually love being that. Like, go certain with the numbers. Hey, and this is actually something that, like, I have to put people on their contract for like 10 freaking years, right? So, and it's like, oh, it's, yeah, great. This is going to cost you $100,000, blah, blah, blah. And then something else that I just kind of really, my mentor taught me here, my franchise, my manager, he's like, remember, you got to demystify the process and demystify the contract. This is how you start the conversation. Here's the contract every single one of our franchisees signs. So then you pre-frame how you want them to act. So
Okay.
Brandon, for you to be like, great, this is the contract all my clients sign. This is the deal that I give them, right? And they all have the same pricing. And because they all sign the same contract, it's the same pricing across the board, right? So you can kind of pre-frame it, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, because then it standardizes it, and then you don't have to worry about the one-off projects that need to be done and managed. So if you sell the same product, same package, it should work the same for everybody as long as that person implements what you give them.
Right. One-on-one sales, one-to-one and one-to-many sales. One-to-one, you really have the opportunity to get that feedback. So if I do say to you in a one-to-one situation, do you want this or not? Then I'm going to expect some feedback in a one-to-one conversation. And in one-to-many conversation, you don't get that opportunity. I don't think you get that opportunity because they're just going to say to themselves, or they're probably going to think to themselves, oh, well, whatever reason it might be, whether it might be, one of the reasons, a spousal stall clothes. What's my spouse going to say if I get this? Because even though we're in a one-to-many situation, I think people still have some of these same thoughts that are going on in their mind. These same, we'll call them roadblocks. Come on.
Oh man, you hit the matrix again. It's okay. No, I hear exactly what you're saying, and there will be the roadblocks. I'm curious to see how he addresses all the roadblocks along the way. I can't think specifically for the day one on what exactly he said to overcome the initial objection to take advantage of the first deal. But I'll pay a little bit more attention day two to see if of the objections that he throws out to the crowd to why they don't buy it today. And I'm curious to see what he gives away today for those that take advantage of day two. If he's still going to throw in the additional credits to the store, if he's going to already take that away, which I expect him to do, and then move and just slowly start taking things away to the final day. The program that he's pushing for at the very end with the coaching deal leading up to GrowthCon, I went through that that program, the 10X Mentor, the very first 10X Mentor program. It's a phenomenal program. And I think I still have all the
it pushes you. Yeah.
Yeah, it does push you. I got it saved in the Cardone U, and then I have my whole big binder of all the notes for each one of the weeks, and it put me on a path to where I'm at now and starting my own deal and figuring out what I need to do to have the success that I want. So you might hate the messenger,
Yep.
but the message is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't get stuck in mechanics, Mark.
No,
I'm swim in the Kool-Aid, drink the Kool-Aid.
I'm just you. I think you have to, if you're trying to reach a wider audience and those people that aren't already part of your program, I think there's, some things that you have to overcome in the mind of your prospect, and you can kind of, push it really hard. But if you're not getting that feedback, it's just interesting to see, to wonder how effective that is. It does work with your faithful, the ones that know you. When you think about, okay, here's this guy, this is what he's doing. Is this how he's teaching me to be as well? And would I do this? Is this something that I want to learn from? Those are questions. Those are questions that I would pose. And it depends. Okay, a $9.97 investment. It's price shouldn't be an issue when the value is there. But if I don't know the value, or if I haven't seen the value, or if I haven't experienced the value, then how do I know this is really worth this price? How do I know it?
That's why it's 5 hours. That's why it's 5 hours. That's why he over delivers and over performs and over gives. Right.
And I think you definitely got your money's worth out of the money math breakdown. That in itself is easily worth, I would say, 1/4 of the $9.97 cost, and figuring out the money math breakdown to know how many people you need to get to the number that you want to get to, and then reverse engineering on how to get back to it. And that's what the rest of the training and the whole program is going to teach.
Hey, this is a great exercise, guys. You know that? I'm throwing these objections out there, and you guys are closing me.
Hey, that's what we're meant to do. Oh, and something else I was going to say about Grant, when he gets in these, just by watching him, right, you understand where he gets his reps, and he says, where he kind of controls his universe, and he can dominate a conversation and dominate the customer, because he's going to go ahead and eject these objections before they even, because somebody might be like, oh, I don't know how to tell this guy, but he sounds scammy. He'll be the first one to tell you, I know I sound scammy. He's like, kind of like when he dropped out of the ceiling when he was in Vegas, right? I know what was it? I know I'm too much. I just dropped out of the ceiling just to confirm it, right? Go ahead and overcome that objection by you bringing it up. You bring it up. And, something that Grant's really taught me is every time I'm buying something, or every time I say it's too expensive, then I start thinking, why did I say that? And I start thinking, okay, great. When was the last time I made a decision of this magnitude? Like, if something's $9.97, great. When was the last time I spent about $1,000? What was it on? Why did I do it? Was it worth it? Or maybe the last 3 times. So I start really analyzing even myself as a shopper, because then I can start understanding other people I'm pitching, right? That's why even in the franchise space, before I get on a call, and I always start the call this way, all my intro calls are very much 2 questions, which is really a Grant thing. Look, I know you've never done something like this before, what makes you prepared based on your history of making decisions to jump and buy a franchise and start a career for yourself, right? With your own money and your own investment. Like, what makes you prepare for that now? And have you ever done something like this before? Right? Because if you've never done something like this before, what makes you prepare now? And like, because that's really going to answer if maybe a franchise system's right for you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Understand deeper.
Yes. And not asking somebody to come up and pay $9.97 without knowing you, I think is a stretch. I think it's a stretch. Yeah. And I think if that were the case, then there would be people on every corner saying, why don't you trust me? My program is great. It's $9.97. You got to have something else in there that's going to cause me to believe that if I spend this $9.97, that I'm going to get some good value. Mm-hmm. For the true believers, they're sold. They're sold. Those are my ideas. There's a great talk. And we got about 2.5 minutes left. Before we leave, time's gone by so fast. It's been a great discussion, but before we leave, let's just say goodbye to everyone. Throw some shots out there. If you're watching this, push out some hearts, some love, some smash that heart button, send this out to more people. As always, you can reach out to Brandon, Laura, or myself if you want to join us. We didn't go through the book this week, but we are practicing because practice makes, what does it make, Brandon?
Makes improvement. Practice makes improvement.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
yes.
Progress.
So we hope you enjoyed it today. We hope you're out there practicing with your group of people, having these types of discussions and just sharpening each other. Iron sharpening iron and making each other better every day. That's what we're trying to do today. All right. Anybody else have anything to say?
No, just keep paying attention to what is going on around you. Join these challenges so you can see how they're done yourself. The whole reason I joined up again was to continue learning the process on how it's done. You know, they followed it to the T so far for what I know how a challenge is supposed to go, and I'm pretty impressed overall with the show.
Cool. All right, that's it. We'll see you next week.
Go close the deal, guys. Close the deal.